Hello everyone, welcome back to another Warhammer battle. This is another 1v1. I am playing as the Greenskins, a very happy one mounted right there. We are facing off against the Empire. And what's interesting about this map is that my entire army started out concealed, as would the enemies, if not for a Night Goblin way in the back here that's giving me sight on everybody. But we'll get to that in a moment. So my army here, we have 3 Goblins in the front. We have a Goblin Archer, Night Goblin Archer for the poison, and then an Arrow Boy. We also have 2 Orc Biggins, a Black Orc, a Shaman, and then the Orc Warboss mounted on the boar. There is a Doomdiver Catapult. We have 2 Goblin Big Bosses on either side, well, one on either side leading a group of Orc Boar Boy Biggins, because I want them to face off against Demigryph Knights. We also have a group of Wolf Riders and Wolf Rider Archers in the... This is a forest. Technically, they are concealed because of the trees, which doesn't really make sense, but that's where it is. And then, of course, 1 Night Goblin way over here to get behind the enemy. My enemy's army, we have 2 Demigryph Knights. 1 is normal and 1 is the Halberd. We have 1 Halberd group, 3 Great Swords, 2 Spearmen with shields on the flank over here, a Spearman without a shield, and a Swordsman, 1 Crossbow, 1 Handgunner, a Light Wizard, Warrior Priest, and Karl Franz. And again, only because I have this Night Goblin is the reason that I can even see their army, but mine are totally concealed. They have no idea what I have. But this Goblin Doomdiver Catapult is going to be able to start firing at this kind of weird angle, way up high, and it has to curve. I'm aiming it at the Demigryph Knights, but it nicks the halberds here. It's a very odd angle for the Doomdiver Catapult to actually hit, because the way that they have to come down like this. And a lot of them are just going to kind of sail over their targets. I'm going to be slowly moving my Night Goblins forward. And I'm pretty content with just standing still here since I have vision on them and they don't have vision on me. And I'm like, well, you know, let's just launch some catapults. Why not? They're little happy goblins. Look at them go. I think this one's going after some great swords, or trying to anyway. And again, because of the angle, it just kind of sails over the great swords. So eventually I'm going to be moving my my army up, including my Doomdiver Catapult, to try and get a better angle, because right now I'm just kind of wasting shots. But I'm also at the same time buying time for my Night Goblin back here to get in position to strike at hopefully a soft unit in the back, like a crossbow or the handgunner. Over here we have the Light Wizard and Karl Franz moving out to try and scout out what the heck is going on. So I'm going to respond by bringing up a Orc Boar Boy Biggin and one of our Goblin Big Bosses. I think I'm moving my... Am I moving my entire army? Yeah, a little bit. So right here is where they start to actually see what I have. And I think the Light Wizard is going to be casting a spell on our Doomdiver Catapult. Shim's Burning Gaze. It does not destroy one of my catapults. It does do a little hit point damage here. But overall, kind of in favor of me there for my opponent to spend the Winds of Magic and not get much in return. That's really good for me. Night Goblins still marching forward. Here comes the rest of our army. The Orc Shaman for this one has, here we go, Gork's Fist? I can't remember. It's the single target buff that does melee attack and defense, I believe. Or is it just melee attack? I can't remember. Let's just check it out. I can never remember what it's called. Fist of Gork. Melee defense, weapon attack, and melee attack. Or sorry, weapon damage and melee attack. And then the Here We Go, and of course the Foot of Gork, because I love the Foot of Gork. It's one of the few spells here that is an offensive spell that I actually like in the game. And I think is useful. Again, trying to get an angle on these great swords, not really happening. We do get a hit on the Spearman, which is not my target. Pretty soon I'm going to be launching my Wolf Riders out and around the flanks. The enemy still doesn't know about them because they are concealed by the forest somehow, even though there are no leaves. It's just a burnt group of trees. Here comes the Demigryph Knights. I'm going to send our archers to go and deal some hit point damage, and we're going to intercept their charge, hopefully with this Goblin Big Boss. And then follow up with the Orc Boar Boy Biggins. So you can see, there we go. We have intercepted the charge, and then we're going to charge them. And I believe the same thing is going to be happening on the right with these Demigryph Knights, I think. But over here, we are also going to have our Night Goblin Archers start to poison the Demigryph Knights to really weaken their stats. You can see Spearmen coming in to support the fight. I'm going to be sending in my Biggins, which have a bonus versus large, into this fight as well. Meanwhile, the front line is going to be engaged. Our goblins are going to be fighting against great swords, which is not great. For some reason, they throw in their handgunners. I think they were just moving their entire army forward and then forgot to move these guys back. I think is what happened. Over here, we have a stand your ground from our Orc Warboss. I believe I drop a wall soon. This, I'm not sure what's happening here. Fistic-Orc. I Fistic-Orc the Orc Biggins, and then I forget to send them in. Yep. Yep, so it's kind of a waste of spell right there. Over here, our Goblin Big Boss did get into the Demigryph Knights along with our second group of Orc Boar Boys. Our Knight Goblins still coming around. Our Knights, or I'm sorry, our Goblin Archers are now coming out to try and put down some fire on this group of warriors over here. One of my Goblin Big Bosses are being thrown out of the fight by Karl Franz. You can see the net of Amatok put in our Orc Boar Boys. And these Wolf Rider Archers got caught up by this Light Wizard and are actually going to be breaking from that. These handgunners, which were putting fire on my Goblin Wolf Riders, are going to get intercepted by our Goblin Wolf Riders. Black Orcs are up the center, dealing with some great swords. Meanwhile, on the right, we still have the Orc Boar Boys, Biggins, and the Goblin Big Boss doing what they can against this pocket of units over there. Night Goblins still on their way. Great swords here have punched through my Goblin line and are now in the back. Luckily, they're not threatening my Night Goblin Archers quite yet. Our Orc Warboss is fighting against these great swords by himself. Doom Divers are still firing into this whole group of units. Luckily, they have not been threatened yet. There's our Goblin Archers also pouring fire into this giant group of units. Wolf Riders are being routed by the Light Wizard and Karl Franz over here with the handgunners. My Orc Warboss is now joining the Black Orcs here to try and deal with the two great swords in the middle, while these great swords are going to be able to easily get into the Night Goblin Archers due to the net of Amatok, netting them both down. My Orc Shaman is going to be chased by the Spearmen for quite a while. He's going to be kind of wrapping around the battlefield. Right here, I'm trying to run away from Karl Franz, and then I forgot to reissue another order, so they're going to get caught again. My Night Goblins finally got into the fight, and they're going to try and finish off these handgunners who were weakened by our Goblin Wolf Riders. Orc Boar Boy is still alive. Goblin Big Boss over here is still alive. The one on the left, I think, is back. I don't know if I actually put him back in the fight. I'm not sure. I think I do. At some point. Anyway, these Orc Boar Boy Biggins are going to come up here to try and chase down the Demigryph Knights are still alive. And you can see our poor Wolf Rider Archers got routed again. Doom Diver Catapult still going off on, I guess, Spearmen. I must have issued an attack order on them for a while ago. Meanwhile, in the middle, the Black Orcs have routed one of the Greatsword groups and are going to go over here to assist the Night Goblins who've routed the Handgunners. This is going to be a fight that's really in our favor. Orc Warboss is nearby, but then they are going to get netted by the Light Wizard again. A lot of good nets in this game. Meanwhile, on the right flank, these the Biggins are still holding on. They have been fighting so much, but they are such a sturdy and powerful infantry unit that they are still going to be alive. Big Boss is also still alive, even though fighting against Halberdiers this whole time and Demigryph Knights. I did give them one potion each so that they could heal a little bit. And yeah, I guess I did forget about this Goblin Big Boss all the way over there. Anyway, Demigryph Knights starting to rout our Goblin Archers over here. Doom Diver Catapult still getting shots off. Karl Franz is now in a fight with these Biggins. Again, they have a bonus versus large, so they're doing okay in this fight over here. My Goblin Wolf Riders, what's left of them, are coming back to the fight along with my Orc Boar Boy Biggins. Warboss is still sitting okay. He also has a potion of healing. And my Black Orcs are finishing off the third group of the Great Swords, while my Goblin Big Boss is chasing off the other one over here. Back here, my Orc Arrow Boys were fighting against this Light Wizard who's taking a lot of damage. Orc Arrow Boys are still okay in melee, especially against a Wizard after their charge bonus has left or has been used up. Night Goblin Archers, even in melee, they would still apply a poison to Karl Franz. So here comes my Orc Warboss. I'm buffing him up. I think I also drop another Fist of Gork on him at some point. By our Orc Shaman over here. And you can see we are wrapping up the remaining forces of the Imperium. Man, I can't believe I forgot my Goblin Big Boss all the way over there. For the entire battle. That's a really bad mistake on my part. But the Orc Warboss is going to be able to defeat a very wounded Karl Franz. He's also not on a barded horse, so this means he has less armor, and there he goes. He's going to shatter off the field, and the rest of his army is going to follow suit. Doom Diver Catapult still firing. I was quite surprised that they had two great swords in the backfield who could have threatened some archers at a point, and then also our Doom Diver Catapult. I guess maybe they thought since like the fight was so close to the catapult that it wouldn't do anything anymore, but no, it still launched the entire time, and I would have definitely tried to take that out. But yeah, good game to my opponent. It was a fun one. This was a unique map. I don't think I've really played on much, but I remember when I started, and then I saw, I was like, my entire army's concealed, and theirs would be too. Like, it's an interesting map because it kind of forces you to march forward, and you can't. I mean, I guess you could sit back, like way in the back, and then like especially for dwarves, you can like gyrocopter and sight targets for your cannons or something. But anyway, it's a cool map. For the quick battles, the maps are just kind of randomly decided. None of these are actually chosen by other players, so that's also pretty cool. For the kills, 57 kills on our Orc Warboss. A lot of those are going to be great swords. What else was he into? I think mostly just great swords, because he was just kind of bouncing along the greatsword line because they had 3 of them, and he was just going from group to group to group, and most of the time he was with the Black Orc group assisting them. So he does have armor piercing on his boar. He does a lot of damage. The Orc Warboss, he has kind of low armor as far as some melee combatant heroes go. I think it's 70, but he's shielded. He's on a mount that gives him a charge bonus, and he does armor piercing damage on it, so he's pretty good. Orc Shaman getting 16 kills, probably against those spearmen that were chasing him around. I wasn't paying too much attention because I never dropped a foot of Gork in this one, I don't think. I was only casting Irrigos, which is like the AoE Wah, and the Fist of Gork on a couple units. The Orc Warboss got it twice. Those Orc Biggins got it once, but it was wasted, and then I think I gave it to my Black Orcs when they were fighting against 2 groups of greatswords, which is probably why they won that fight. Anyway, Goblin Big Boss, 35 kills, great. This one got run off, and I never paid attention to it again, which is my bad. Goblins, they took a charge very well. Night Goblins got 49 kills against those handgunners, and then they went up against, what were they fighting at the end? Halberdier or something like that? So pretty good. Orc Biggins, very solid units. They did really well. Black Orcs, superbly well. Just murdered so many great swords. Again, with the help of buffs from the Orc Shaman and the Orc Warboss, but man, so good. The Goblin Archers, 5 kills. 27 kills for the Night Goblin Archers is pretty good. Now, these were firing into Demigryph Knights for the major part of the opening of the battle, so getting a very low kill count is not surprising for the Goblin Archers. Orc Air Boys, 33 kills, pretty solid. The Wolf Riders, solid again. Orc Boar Boys kind of got shut down by the Demigryph Knights, but that's going to happen, even with a Goblin Big Boss assisting them. Goblin Wolf Riders, I kind of mismanaged a lot because they got caught a couple times by the Light Wizard. It's just too busy micromanaging other things, so they weren't really realized to their full potential. And then the Doom Driver Catapult, 71 kills, because it was not really threatened throughout the entire battle, except for the one time, I think, with the Karl Franz getting in there, but then he left. Besides that, Karl Franz, 77 kills, 39 on the Warrior Priest, 42 on the Light Wizard, all very solid amounts of kills. The Spear Line, I think, did pretty well. They got some kills while holding a line. Swordsman did, okay. Halberdier's 24 kills is not bad. The Great Swords, even though the Black Orcs outdid them, well, beat them individually, they still did really well. 160 kills in this one, man. That was probably a lot of goblins that fell to that group of Great Swords. 20 kills in the handgunners. A lot of those were against my Goblin Wolf Riders, so not a huge loss. Crossbowmen, 6 kills. I'm not sure what they were firing at. To be honest, I think maybe the Black Orcs. I can't remember. And then 62 kills in this Demigryph Knight unit, which is pretty good. And then the one with the Halberds got really shut down. The one of the Halberds was the one fighting on the right side against the Biggin, Orc Boar Boy, and the Goblin Big Boss. And for some reason, they just didn't do as well as the normal Demigryph Knights. Anyway, again, good game to my opponent. Let's watch this again in a cinematic view. Never thought you'd be that close to a spider butt, did you? Also, look at the detail on that shield on his back. I never noticed before. Oh.
Now we strike! Forward, man!
Now, my mistakes on the flanks here, I didn't cycle charge my Orc Boar Boy Biggins. Definitely a mistake on my part. Oh, what up, Carl? Ooh. Wolf Riders are just one of the best units in this game. Hands down. They are so amazing. I love these little Wolf Riders. One of my... this is so good. There it is. There's the Fist of Gork. A brutal spell to cast on a group of Black Orcs. And again, probably one of the main reasons they win this fight against two Greatswords at the same time.
As long as we draw breath, they will die! Smash them aside!
And with these Night Goblins here poisoning the Greatswords, they didn't have much chance when the Black Orcs came. Although that was a pretty good net though. Pretty good net. It was maybe a couple seconds late, but I really like the idea of what my enemy did here to try and prevent the Black Orcs from engaging the Greatswords so they could focus on killing the Night Goblins first. It's pretty good.
Don't stop until they're all dead! Ulrich's take retreat!
These spearmen just chased this shaman for like the whole match. Oh, here we go. I guess they were threatened by these Demigryph Knights for a bit. And over here, this is just so dangerous because the Night Goblins and melee are still poisoning Karl Franz, I believe. We can just check. They have to make a hit, which is probably going to happen with all these trying to make a hit at the same time. But yeah, you can see the poison here. All of those stats are lowered. When fighting a pretty decent duelist, which would be the Orc Warboss, even Karl Franz with those stats decreased like that, that's just, it's a dangerous combination. Which is why poison, one of the reasons poison is just so good. You can throw like a Goblin Big Boss on a very dangerous melee combatant like Karl Franz or Ungrim Iron Fist, you know, one of those people, and then throw your maybe not as good but still decent melee combatant like a generic Orc Warboss against them at the same time, and you could do pretty well. Like poison is pretty good. It's pretty good. And the Greenskins are, I think they're like my favorite race. They're not the most powerful race in Total War, but I think they're my favorite. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, everybody. I will see you all next time. Take care. Let's get up on this Orc Warboss. I can't scroll down. Shoot.